I am Alfred,
Hi, and I'm On.
and this is Two Voices.
I usually start writing with a question. It's like, why did that happen? So then I
and
create.
are they like, why did that happen in my own life, or do you mean why did that happen in your story?
No, it starts out with something in life
In life, yeah.
that inspires a story or
Right.
inspires a question.
Like, why did that person do that crazy atrocity that we hear about? kind of
Yeah,
thing?
yeah. So
Yeah.
why are a lot of serial killers male?
Right.
Why aren't there any female ones?
Yeah, that's a good
Why?
question.
What is death? What is really that about? And if death
Mhm.
were personified, what would it really mean to different people, to me? And so I explore what it may mean in different characters approaching this concept. So it's sort of like empathy. It's like putting myself in other people's shoes,
Right.
and it's fascinating to me. So in a sense, you're having a conversation with yourself.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Right. Because a lot of people, our characters are just various facets of ourselves because we're multifaceted individuals.
Yes.
It's interesting. You know, what are the thoughts that are going to be necessary for writing what I need to write? Like, you know, if I'm writing about two people.
What about their
in conflict-
backstory?
Backstory, of course. Backstory, I do think about that. Especially if the character is someone who's going to be doing a lot with, and it's useful because otherwise you don't want to do all that crap and you just go straight into writing, and then suddenly you're like, well, why would somebody do this? And then you're like, well, I have to make a backstory for it, and then you do a backstory, and you're like, well, that contradicts everything I wrote in the first part. So
That's the work part. That's the challenge.
It's
Oh,
a
I had
challenge.
to change backstories all the time.
You
and
change your
it's-
backstories.
It has to be because the characters evolve.
Why didn't you just stick to the original backstory while
It
you were
didn't
writing?
work. The character evolved. I didn't do enough work on that character because I walked in thinking that's a secondary character, and then as the story progressed, it became a main character, and then that changed everything.
But had you had gone from the very beginning and gone like, even if this is a secondary character, I'm going to make a backstory for them, would that have prevented the situation you walked into later?
No, I don't think so. No, I changed the character by the end of it because she changed, which is sort of weird to say, since
No.
I'm the writer.
No, it's not
But it
so weird.
didn't feel.
I just like to think of a
True.
way to avoid having to go back and doing a rewrite and changing the backstory for a character. Because then when you change the backstory for the character, then who is that character after that, you know? You have to, what are you going to rewrite everything that character did?
Yeah, I did.
Uh,
But then in that case, I pretty much threw away.
You have to write a lot of stuff because every time you change what that character did, everything everybody else does around
Yeah.
changes, and you just toss in lots of material.
Yeah, which is what I did.
But
But it wasn't true to the story anymore.
I'm too lazy for that. I'm not gonna do that.
That's why the work, and that's why I'm still editing.
Yeah, I guess. You know, the reality
Go
is,
back.
she's not necessarily evolving in the story. Otherwise, then she could stay with the same backstory. It's like you are evolving what you want her to be.
Regardless,
Right? That's
yeah,
different.
that
so,
is.
because otherwise,
Well, I think when I write characters, it's a symbiosis.
yeah.
Because sometimes I actually don't want them to go that way,
Yeah.
and then they do. Because I'm like, no, don't do that. I don't want you to be that.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, this is who I am.
Which is fine, because that also means less work for you, because then you don't have to change their backstory and you don't have to go back and rewrite it. So, you know, I think I would have, personally, if I saw the character going on a certain trajectory, even if I didn't like the trajectory, but I had a backstory set up and I'm like, you know, oh well, this is where it's going, I would just let it go, because otherwise I'm going to have to go back and change everything. That's not worth it, you know.
Because my writing is, especially the first draft, it's an exploration.
Sure.
It's like getting to know someone. You really don't know. It's like someone's hiding depression. You don't know until sort of you get deeper into it, and then you're like, oh, now that I know there's this issue or this big thing in their life, everything sort of changes. But in a novel, because, you know, theme and such, and plot, you sort of, it all has to be cohesive, or at least foreshadow, so I have no choice but to change it. Otherwise, the only decision I can make is I'm not changing this character to what she has evolved into, but keeping her that way. And I'm like, that's not true to the story. I have to. And that's how I write. I'm literally watching them interact with each other. Once I've created or discovered who they are.
Wouldn't advance your plot, is what you're saying. They wouldn't get you where you needed to in the story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they wouldn't have satisfied the theme. And if that's the case, you know, if I'm already putting in work,
Right.
what's a little bit more work to say change these 5 pages and swap it out? I've done that. I'll be like, oh, I take out that 5 pages that don't work and I literally rewrite it, and it ultimately ends up being about the same, you know, 5-6 pages that I've replaced, and it feels more cohesive. It feels like I'm honoring that story.
Okay.